Hello, everybody, or anybody, or one person. Chris James. Thank you for watching that. My friend at put that out. Hold on. Hold on. Sorry. Open YouTube. But yes. So you're welcome. I hope you enjoy it. This is the Free Jazz Hooligans. So please do your research before you participate. Hola. Good day, mate. I can say hello in many languages. Watch this one. So I'm really good. I wasn't going to do a live stream, but I was asked to by a particular person who I thought would be here to join me. But I'm by myself. Good day, mate. Good day, mate. Wow. Hold on. Nick P., I didn't know you were from Australia. Where are you in Australia? I forget Glenn. Glenn, where are you? And then Robert, where are you from? I've only been to Sydney. I've not been to any other place in Australia. I've been to Sydney twice. And when I was in Sydney, I was mistaken for a Canadian, which I don't know how that happens. Melbourne, which from my understanding is the cooler place, but it's like San Francisco. Is that true? Have you been to San Francisco? I don't know. That's my understanding. It's very good. Okay, that's one I might end up getting depending if it drops in price. But I did pick up a Freddie Hubbard today. I already have this, but I found another copy, Straight Life, green label. And this is excellent. This really, I don't know why this doesn't get as much love as Red Clay, but this is very good. So I found that. I like Freddie Hubbard. Of the, I mean, I have a ton of miles, but of all the jazz trumpeters, you know, I like Freddie Hubbard, maybe the best, because I don't particularly take to Donald Byrd's 70s stuff. I prefer Freddie Hubbard. That's me. Do you have any? If you have a record you need flat and fluffy, I won't charge you anything. Just give it to me. Okay? Yes, I have all the Freddie Hubbard CTI records, and I like all of them. There's one that's like a compilation of unused stuff, but I have all of them. Well, he did more than just 3. I like all of them. Did you get my answer? So, give it to me, and I'll attempt to flatten it. If anyone who wants to come up, message me privately, and I'll send you a link. It'd be nice to have someone come up who's always thought about coming up and has never come up before, so I can make an example out of you. But I have a stack of records I found, but the person who wanted me to do this should have been here right now, and he will be disciplined accordingly. I'm not going to do a long stream. That's why I started a little earlier. I wanted to relax and chill this evening. Yes, it's such a surprise that I'm streaming. Who put money down in Vegas on this happening? Tuggy, you should make your internet debut. I've met Tug in person. What's up, Jeffrey Boyle? I haven't charged anybody to flatten records. I've done it as a nicety. Or I'm doing like 8 records for Vinyl Piper. But I'm just getting it's like not like I'm doing any work, but I'm getting better at doing it with this device. I'm going to do a video of shop footage. Obviously, I didn't buy the device. They didn't give it to me for free. I just saw Michael Fremer's video he did of it, and I didn't particularly what he did in his video is not my experience. I'm not saying it was a bad experience. It seems like his video made it seem like it was a toaster or a microwave. You put it in and then it flattened. That's not my experience. Eddie, my birthday is exactly a month and 1 day away. So not today. I am not, and even if it is my birthday, I'm not a birthday person. So there you go. There you know. I think let me know. I think I want to do it a week from tomorrow. Does a week from tomorrow work for a lot of people? This will be the best auction I've ever done. The titles that will be in this auction will blow away any other auction I've ever done. If you're a jazz fan, I have a few non-jazz titles, but if you're a jazz fan, this is the auction for you. You will pick up such good stuff. I'm not going to talk for an hour. Where's this person? Do people still do this, even if they're not wearing a watch? Let me know. I might go to start showing records, regardless of this person. Hold on. Your birthday's tomorrow. The big 6-0. I'm flying. Now, I don't know what the mentality. I've never been to the Philippines. There are a lot of Filipino people in the U.S., especially around here. I can go to Jollibee. We have nice beaches. I would assume things are much cheaper there than they are here. So what is your attraction to go to the Philippines for your 60th birthday? Curious. Do a lot of Australians go to the Philippines because it's a short travel? I would like to know. That's a very good record, white label promo, and I'm sure it sounds great. I got the Rekid show in Toronto last week for $5. Did you buy more than just that? I'm not allowed to have cake anymore, but when I was growing up, the one good thing my mom did for my birthday is there was this cake I liked. It was, I guess, a yellow cake with strawberries all in it with like a whipped cream frosting on it. I liked that cake. That would bring back good memories for me. But if you're from the East Coast of the country, although we do have one here in LA, there's a chain called Carvel. I guess they started in New York. And they made, Fudgy, easy enough, Fudgy the Whale. They made ice cream cakes. And I remember talking about it. And for one of my birthdays, when I lived in LA with my friends got me a Fudgy the Whale cake for my birthday. Ice cream cakes are good. Okay, this is not the person who asked me to do a stream, and I'm almost worried by bringing him up. It's Dr. Robert. This is not the person who asked me to do the stream. So when this person comes, I will have to defer to that person, Dr. Robert.
Okay, well, I would start by saying have no fear. I don't know, but
now what's the deal with the skull cap or the toque or whatever it's called?
Well, I shaved my head in solidarity with my wife, who is bald because of chemotherapy, about, I don't know, 3 months ago now. So my hair is growing back, but, not Yeah, I know.
shaved my head. I shaved my head in solidarity of it looking better than with hair. Although I have hair all over my head, it is not what it used to be. I shave it in solidarity of it looks better without hair on my head.
With just being an older person. Yeah, well,
I luckily don't have that bad of a looking bald head. I don't have craters or nonsense going on. My head shaved bald looks fine.
Mm-hmm.
I've never, I don't think even when I had a ton of hair, I never had a great head of hair. I think maybe the 80s. I had the 80s hair. Okay, hold on, Dr. Robert.
Uh-oh.
The guy who asked me to do this stream is here.
Uh-oh.
It's Joe.
Hey guys.
And everyone wished Joe belated birthday. It was his birthday the other day. I think he turned 21 or something like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So to answer your question, my hat is for warmth, and even though it's growing back and I'm kind of letting it grow back, but I get cold. It's chilly, so I like a hat.
Hold on. We have Brotsman, so suck an egg, Dave.
Suck an egg. What?
And yeah, I don't know I mean, right now, if you live in Southern California, we have this thing called June gloom. Even though it's April, we have what we call the marine layer, and it's sitting right here, and it's making things unseasonably cold with a breeze. So the wind chill. It's chilly outside.
Well, I lived in San Diego for 4 years, and so I know what June gloom is. And let me tell you, you don't know gloom, and compared to the Northwest.
Well, the thing about San Diego, though, where I live in most of the beach areas around LA are in the Santa Monica Bay. It's a bay. It's an indentation that's covered by 3 sides, which includes Malibu all the way down to Redondo or Hermosa. It's all these they call them the beach cities. And that it just sits here. It sits here in the Santa Monica Bay. So there you go.
Well, yeah, it's tough. It's tough for Southern California to win sympathy weather-wise from.
Well, no, it's the same thing. If San Francisco has it worse, they have a marine layer that sits over the city.
Or San Francisco. I mean, I'm just saying.
Here. This guy lives. I'm not going to say where Tugga lives. He lives in Orange County. He lives way south. But Tugga, you have a marine layer sitting on the coast because Tugga lives on the coast. He would live at a same distance from the ocean than I do, I think. Am I correct, Tugga? But Tugga lives in a nicer place in Orange County. So,
well, I just think you guys gotta suck it up. You just gotta suck it up. Stay in there.
I'm not complaining. Who said I was complaining?
Well, it sounded like
your cues, social cues, are different than mine.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I'm not complaining either.
I'm literally about a mile away from the beach. About it. It's not a nice walk down there.
Yeah, good.
Joe, I'm gonna warm up and show a little bit of the records I have. One of them is Joe is on his want list, so I will defer this record to Joe, and you can tell me about it. This is Low Life. It's Peter Brotsman and Joe Laswell. Is that his name?
Bill Laswell. Yeah.
And this is on this label Celluloid, which I have a few records on them. They tend to do avant-garde, free jazzy stuff, right?
Is that Bill Laswell's label? Because he's certainly got a lot of stuff on it.
I think it is. Yeah. And he had kind of they had worked together, and actually I think even when that came out late 80s, like 80, 87, 88, they had been working together in Last Exit. And so I think that was after all of the LP Last Exit stuff. And at that point they were just doing like CD releases. But
now I have a lot of Last Exit albums, and I'm keeping those. But this, I had a slight warp to it, but I flattened it. It flattened beautifully. It's in minty condition, actually. And here's my new thing. Now that I look at records that are translucent.
Oh,
so there you go.
That's cool. Yeah.
So I'll put this aside for you. You can take it off your want list.
Sounds good. Thanks, Rob. Appreciate it.
No problem. Yeah, this one isn't that pricey of a record, I think.
No. And I had, as I told you, I have the CD of that. And that's one of the last. I think that's one of the last Brotsman like LPs that came out before it became, for the most part, CDs, and then it was very sporadic when there would be
one that was issued on vinyl.
Yeah, some that would actually.
Yeah, I have most of my stack I found today, actually. I went out and hold on. The TV somehow magically came on. There's Ghost here. Ram Blake, who's kind of avant-garde jazz pianist. Rappaport. I've never seen this record before, but here's the interesting stuff. Although a lot of the records I find of his are solo piano, these are several different lineups depending on the song. Ricky Ford, he's playing with Ricky Ford on most things. There's one song with Anthony Braxton. Rufus Reed's on this. That old-timey jazz singer Chris Connor, and he does some solo. So this is interesting, but here's the interesting thing. I tried to look his autograph. So this was written to Kimbo. No.
Oh, no.
But I assume it's an autographed copy of his record. So
you didn't stand in line to get that, though, huh?
Dr. Robert, you have to understand that I have a horseshoe up my butt for records. I have several CDs and records that are autographed from famous jazz musicians that I did not seek out their autograph.
Just making sure.
At least here, I mean, record stores don't truly value them. So I find them and I discover they're autographed, and there's no added value to it when they're selling it. So
I've seen that too. They sometimes they don't even recognize it. I think when they know it's there, they do upgrade it.
They're not going to go to town and say this is Rand Blake's autograph.
Well, and that's a different thing. But
I looked online, I couldn't find it at all. I found this Bill Frisell Rambler record. I found a bunch of copies before, and I'm not the biggest Bill Frisell guy. He's a little sleepy for me. But this is a great lineup. I think maybe I'm meant to have it. Paul Motion and Kenny Wheeler.
Nice.
So I'm a big Paul Motion and Kenny Wheeler fan. So
I saw him years ago. He did kind of a Dylan record, and the show I saw was a lot of Dylan tunes.
Well, I saw Bill Frisell last year play with Charles Lloyd. So I've seen him. He's great. In fact, there's a reissue that ECM just put out as their whatever that series is called, and it's a album with a stellar lineup. It's Kenny Wheeler, Bill Frisell, and I listened to it in my car, and it was just so sleepy. It was like I can't nod off. I'm a huge Matt Waldron fan. There's a great record store here in Torrance called Boogie Maru, carries mostly Japanese pressings of all types of music. But they have a killer Mal Waldron section, and I picked up this Mal 84. There's Mal being Studley on the cover. And then there's him having a scotch and soda. I don't know what he's drinking there.
Yeah.
So
looks cocktailish.
I've listened to one side of it. It's a trio record with George Mraz and Al Foster. It's plain standards. It's great. All right, I'm not showing any of my record store day pickups, but I'm going to re-show the killer not used records I found on record store day because I cleaned and listened to them. when I showed him on my live stream on Saturday, I had not done this. This is a black bee, but as Joe told me, some of these black bees are notorious for using the original metalwork. So this, I believe, is the original stereo metalwork for this record. I have never picked this up. I've had opportunity, came out as a classic, and this sounds excellent. This sounds very good.
Nice. Yep.
I have a copy of that. It's an earlier pressing. I don't know that it's an original, but I honestly have passed on the Black Bee label, and maybe I should reassess.
Well, when I only picked them, so there's those schools of thought, but I like to pick up when it's a Van Gelder. I try and pick up the Black Bee.
Sure.
There are Black Bees that were pressed on the West Coast, and I guess in turn mastered on the West Coast, that are non-Van Gelder, that people feel sound fine. But if the value is picking up an older copy, I'd rather it be a Van Gelder. So, so in this case with this one, I think this is like a third pressing stereo. It's a New York label, and it is a minty condition, a Van Gelder, and this is an upgrade because I have a Van Gelder Liberty pressing of this. That someone claimed already. So this sounds excellent. I cleaned it and it sounds great.
Is that New York labels, Rob?
Yeah, New York.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have the ear? Is that why you're thinking it's a
No.
third?
Yeah, no ear.
No ear. So it's probably a second because that came out in '64. So more than likely the reissue.
I looked
early Liberty.
Well, if you include monos as pressings, right?
Yeah. But if it comes out mono and stereo, then that's still the first. That would still be the second stereo press.
Yeah, then it's either that.
Yeah.
So
that's
regardless, I went to a record store today where they had this on the wall and labeled it VG for 100. I played less than 100, way less than 100 for this.
Nice.
But this is killer. In fact, my favorite Lee Morgan record is his last one, the double record. But this is a close second. I like this.
Yeah, that's a great session. Yeah.
The New York label for '64 would be close to the original label, I'm thinking.
Yeah,
that would be the original. Yeah, that would.
I was thinking. Yeah,
it would have a plasticine ear.
You're right. I get it. I know. I get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a P. It's a P, not an ear. By the way.
I've been doing really. Shut up. Come on, you jazz bums can't participate. You gave away the real estate of this evening. You cannot participate. So I've in the last 2-3 months, I picked up so much Sun Ra records, and I've seen 2 promo copies of this record on walls for $100 or more. This is a non one, and I went into Amoeba. Even Amoeba had one on the wall, a promo. Someone bought it, but I went in after Record Store Day because Vinyl Piper, they were supposed to replenish the wall. He said they didn't. When I went in the jazz wall, they had a lot of replenished stuff. This was one of them, a regular copy. Came out as a neon label, Impulse. And this, I guess, when Sun Ra signed a deal with Impulse, practically all the records, I think, were reissues of records he put out on his own label. This was one of them. And it sounds like exactly like those transition titles. Like it's the same style of music. They're playing more big bandy stuff, slightly avant-garde. But on this one, he's playing more electric piano, I think. So I know from listening. So this is great. And I think I've accumulated all the Impulse reissues of the Sun Ra records with this one. So I'm very happy. This was the killer pickup of all Record Store Day. This is an OG mono, which is impossible to find.
Nice.
So this is, and it's a West 63rd Street. And this is minty too. So very happy. And I, again, pay way less than this goes for. The other one, and I like, if I can have a mono and stereo, I have a Music Matters 33 stereo of this. So, this I picked up the other day, and it's been at a store. I see it all the time. I decided to just grab it. This Globe Unity. This is a fantastic freaking record. I don't even want to list everyone on here. It's crazy who's on this, but it's not hugely free jazz. It's kind of slightly but it feels like Kenny Wheeler did a lot of the leading on this, but it's just Enrico Rava, Kenny Wheeler, Manfred Schoop, Albert Mangelsdorf. And Steve Lacy's on this. It really is very good. I enjoy this. If you see this, pick it up. It's good. No bagpipes on this. All right, these are today records. Found this record. This is the ECM US pressing. It's just a duo, Keith Jarrett and Yael Gralbrack. All right, this was an interesting this is sort of a blind buy. Has anyone heard of the Bella Band? It is not. It's not these guys. I don't know why they're on the cover. It's these guys.
Oh man!
So they only put out one album. Now I just got this today. I read a little bit and I streamed it. I have not cleaned and listened to it. They are an Italian jazz fusion band, and this record goes for a little bit of dough, but very interesting on this label. Here, let me pull out. I guess there's them again right there. And go stream this. It's pretty interesting. It's good. And check out this label. That's pretty good.
Wow.
The Bella Band.
Not label either.
Yeah. This is, I think, from, is it the 80s or 70s? It's all in Italian, so I don't see a year. I picked this up, and I didn't realize Joe's Garage. There are two. If Jim was here, it's the second and third acts.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they released Joe's Garage. Did this come out shortly after the first one?
There's two LPs. The first one was a single LP, and then the second one was two.
Yeah, this is two.
That's a double. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice find. It's a good record. You know.
Yeah. It was $8.
Oh, that's a good price.
Yeah. I found this poll winners, Barney Castle and Shelley Mann and Ray Brown. So they're playing music, I guess, featured of all these jazz musicians. So
they milked that poll winners thing, didn't they? They used that. Why? No, they milked it.
Well, I wasn't around to see them milk it.
Well, the results are out there.
Hey, so I found this is one of the original OJCs when they put the OJCs in tip-on jackets. Really nice. So I surprisingly don't have this record, this Monk Orchestra record. I don't know how well it's regarded, but it's got Phil Woods on here and Charlie Rouse, Pepper Adams. It's a big band.
I have a copy of that. Monk is one of those players that, honestly, I mean, singers. Okay, I'm going to make just a brief comment, Waxed. Okay,
it's not going to be brief. Trust me.
Well, not that brief, but not that long either. So, if you'll let me get to it, the human voice, everybody's voice is distinct, and you hear somebody singing, you say, "Oh, that's whoever. That's Linda Ronstadt. That's Bob Dylan. That's Van Morrison." Players. It's much more difficult to come up with a unique voice. And Monk is one of those guys that you hear him and you go, oh, that's Thelonious Monk, right? Am I right? I mean, and it's a lot of it is rhythm. I mean, it's not like the instrument is, maybe it is tuned differently. I don't know, but he's got a unique sound. And every time I hear Monk, I'm like, oh, that's Thelonious Monk. So that's my comment.
Okay. I mistake him for Paul Williams, the short little guy.
Well, I don't. He's probably a Monk copier is probably what it is.
So I didn't have. So this dude right here, Ulrid Andersson, I found one record of his on ECM, and he's killer bass player. So today I found a couple of his records, quartet on ECM, and this is a U.S. pressing from '78, and I really don't know these other guys.
Oh yeah, it's Johanni Aaltonen and
Lars Johansson.
Yeah, they were They're both Finnish, so they're all from Finland, and it's Edward Vasala was another guy that played with them in the early 70s, and it was like free jazz type. That one, I think as they got more into the 70s, it became just more like post bop and kind of classic ECM type
style. Hold on one second. I don't mean to interrupt. I heard Elvis died on the toilet. Thank you.
In the monkey room.
So here's another one of his records, Clouds in My Head. And here's the lineup. This is a German pressing. And this is from 75. And here's the lineup on this one.
Similar. Oh yeah, different band.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right.
Yeah, I've never seen that one.
This is a double album on Milestones, one of the McCoy Tyner Milestone records. But this is interesting. I think he did two records like this. This is a promo. So it's the bass is McCoy Tyner, Al Foster, and Cecil McBee. And then one side is with Freddie Hubbard, one side with John Abercrombie, one with Bobby Hutcherson, and the other with Arthur Blythe. So interesting. There you go. This one, it's criminal. It's good for everybody who buys records, but it's criminal that McCoy Tyner stuff is not horribly expensive. And then I bought an upgrade copy, which I think I have this record both in mono and stereo, but I found a mint copy of 4 per Train stereo, which I'll probably get rid. I'll get rid of my other one, but this thing is beautiful. It's like the cleanest Impulse I think I've ever found.
Oh, that's one I don't have. Yeah, I like his stuff.
Too.
It's a great record. It's Archie Shepp, John Chakai, Roswell Rudd, Reggie Workman, Alan Shorter, and Charles Moffat on this.
I saw him live once in the 90s, maybe in the aughts. That's when I saw him.
All right, that looks like everything I've found in the last few days. So interesting.
Nice.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Which jazz bum is this? Because you're supposed to be locked in a cage, I thought. Like, which one if I'll sell you the replacement one for this, but there are 3 of you understand. Okay. Joe, you apparently you have a stack that cannot hold back.
Yeah, I just wasn't going to be on the stream next week, so I wanted to show some stuff that I got. I've taken a few different trips across New York State. I went a few weeks ago to New York City and got some stuff. So it's been quite a few weeks, but great shop in Boston, Music Research Library. I've talked about them before. If you're ever in Boston, it's especially when it comes to jazz, incredible stuff. And especially if you're interested in stuff that's a little bit more obscure, European type stuff. They had this. This was definitely the big purchase the last time I was there. And it's called Exile or Exile, EXIL. It's tough to find. To be honest, don't even know the name of the album. I just got this recently, so I haven't had a chance to really look too much into it, but it's like a prog rock meets like jazz rock avant-garde type session. It's really, really great, but it's also a little bit more on the kind of proggy rock.
Where is it? Is it German or something?
It's yes, it's German. Yes. Yeah.
Show the back, and can you show the label at all?
Yeah, it's just. I mean, it's literally in like a
library. Record.
Like this is like the cover, if you even want to call it that. I mean, it's just like a pamphlet that you just like.
What year is that from?
70s, sometime in the 70s.
Okay.
The label is actually pretty incredible. It's
wow. Very independent. Very independent.
Yes. I'm trying to think of the name of the record if you want to. Yeah, I mean, the guy at the shop told me what the name of it was, but if he
Are you
hadn't
being
told me,
funny, Rick's? Rick's is
I
saying
wouldn't.
Revolver in Exile. Actually,
Yeah, but that's so that was the big one. It was pricey, but I also brought some stuff in for trade, so
You want to say what did they have it priced at?
It was 370. So
yeah, okay.
How rare is that record?
It's pretty rare. I mean, I've never seen it. They said that they had never even seen it, and it seemed like it was, as we kind of saw, very obscure. Yeah, I'll get that in there.
I don't know. What neighborhood are they in Boston?
It's in Beacon Hill.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, and they opened. They were in Providence, Rhode Island, for a number of years, and then about 2 years ago they moved up to Boston. So, and it's I can't really speak too much to other genres. I know library records is their big thing. That's where like the name Music Research Library kind of comes from. But it's just my experience that I've been there about 4 times now, and every time there's things that like there are things that I've never seen before, and I think that's what makes it even better. Like it would be great if I could find stuff on my want list. And the first time I went, there was a few like FMP, German free jazz type records that I picked up, but most of the stuff I see I've never seen before. I've never heard of it, and they have listening stations allow you to listen to anything, and it's a very just free type shop, but it's really great. And I think the neighborhood it's in, I think, allows them to be able to put out a lot of pricey stuff and know that it's not going to just sit there, because people are not afraid to drop big prices. So especially again in the neighborhood that it's in. So that was a big one.
That sounds very cool. I've never been in there.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's about a little over 2 years ago. I think it moved to Boston. And then Wantless Records is also a new shop that's west of the city in Belmont. I know Dave, Local Bandography, is friends with the owner, whose name is Dave as well. He was, I guess, a long time. He was on YouTube years ago. Record Bug was his name, Dave Belson. But he has another great shop too that flies a bit under the radar. Most people that go to Boston, or if they're talking about the shops they go, you really never see them mention either of those shops. And to be honest, those are the best shops. So yeah.
Well, I've always known Cheapo and Nuggets, and I like both those stores. I'll tell you, I was in Nuggets in 1978, in the summer of 1978, and the Cars record had just come out, right? And they were a Boston band, and they were playing it everywhere. And it wasn't, at that point, really, it hadn't had national attention. But I bought a copy at Nuggets in the summer of 1978, and you can check the dates. And then when I got back home, they broke huge, and all my friends wanted that record, and I already had it. So
you're talking about when you went back home to Iowa.
Yes, exactly.
Did people have radios there?
Well, they did have record players, amazingly enough. But I'm just saying, all of a sudden I was a cool guy because I had the Cars record first.
Yeah.
That only happens a few times in your life where people regard you as somehow.
Hey, listen, Dr. Robert.
At least in my life,
I've always been a cool guy. Didn't need a Cars record to be cool.
Well, I'm just saying, when you get called out for being cool, it's kind of sticks with you.
So I also, a few weeks ago, actually last week, I went to Rochester for my birthday, visit my family, where I'm from, and local shop there had gotten some stuff in for Record Store Day, and I've been moving away from a lot of the early jazz that I was collecting, like the Blue Note Prestige. And there's certain titles that I've always had in the back of my mind that if I saw them, I would pick them up. And this was one of them, Sonny Rollins Volume 2. I have a late 70s pressing that I picked up a few years ago, but this was one of those Blue Notes where I kind of said if I could find an original, an early pressing, especially mono, I was going to grab it. So the shop that I got it from, I'm not going to say what it is, but they I don't think really knew the nuances of the pressings, and especially this record had like four or five like somewhat different pressings between when it came out in 58 and like 60, 61, because it just kind of went through the original was on the pretty or not, I should say, not largely seen Blue Note label, which was the New York 23 label. I don't know if you guys have seen that label.
Was that recorded just in mono?
This was yeah, this was right on the fringe. The great London Jazz Collector website, one of their sublinks on the website is like they have this list of what is like it just recorded in mono, and then like if you found a stereo pressing later on, it would be, they consider it like pseudo stereo, the ones where you see like you'd see the thing at the top, or you'd see that box in the corner that told you that it was like reprocessed to simulate stereo. But this one was more than likely, I mean, it's a pretty good thing to kind of stand by, where if a record is a 1500 series record, other than maybe like something else like right at the end of the 1500 series, it's pretty safe to stay in just the mono territory. Now that doesn't mean that like if you got like a modern like Music Matters, or like if it came out as a classic series or something like that and it was stereo, that it would, I mean, there'd be an issue with it. But it's safer to stay away from those like 60s stereo pressings, because those were usually very hard pan, and they don't really sound that great. So, but this is a second mono, 47 West 63rd labels, no ink, so it did not have like the registered R on it. And then this is actually the original jacket. And again, for me, like this is one of the more exciting things about my early jazz collecting was finding these, just kind of learning as much about the label variation, because while there is some like, I don't know, black and white to it, some gray area to the labels and the jackets. This was an original jacket, and then it's just with the second press. So it's a very early. There's a chance that it actually may have been. It may have like subsequently came out as both New York 23, and then very shortly after came out as the one that I have, the 47 West 63rd, no ink. So, and that's it's really nice. It was also pricey too. I got some money for my birthday, but I've been going a little bit too hard with some of the.
I have the Music Matters 45 of that.
Yeah.
But and then I think maybe I had one other kind of copy of it, but not in good condition.
Yeah, it's a great record, and I know that Dr. Robert, you were talking about Monk. He's on 2 of the tracks, and one of his tracks. So there is J.J. Johnson plays trombone on all the tracks except for one, which was a Monk composition called Reflections, and that one is very forward, like the sound of it is very forward in terms of its time when it came out, and it's really great. I mean, but you could tell immediately that it was a Monk composition, because it was not just that standard hard bop, very like calculated type. It was very almost, I wouldn't call it avant-garde, because it was 1950. I think it was recorded in 57, so it actually came out I think late 57, but it was definitely a little bit more avant-garde-ish for the time. So I also mentioned at the beginning, I went to
let's not leave this record yet. So I was going to ask about the labels, because we were talking a little bit about Blue Note labels. So the labels on this one were the New York label?
No, this was 47 with 63rd. No ink. So it doesn't say, there's no, it doesn't say ink. It's just blue. It just says Blue Note Records. Yeah,
so that's yet another variation, is the inclusion of the ink on there. But
correct. And they are after the Blue Note at the bottom.
Right. But I Blue Note did things like and you kind of alluded to it, that they would use up their sleeves with their labels. So you get sometimes one that's West 63rd in New York.
Correct. Yes.
Or
Yep.
vice versa, not vice versa, maybe. But and you also, they did a thing. I've got somewhere there's one label on one side and then different address on the back side, on the second
side. That usually only happened once you got into like the Liberty era. So usually those are the ones that don't have like the plastilite. Now there might be a few records that came out between like 59, maybe early 59 to late 59 that could have like Blue Note Records on one side and then ink on the other. But even then, I think there was somewhat of like a real hard line that was drawn where at some point it just became like, for the new releases, it was just going to be ink. But at the same time, now that I think about it, you're right that especially early pressings, there are some that have Lexington Avenue on one side of the labels, and then it goes to that New York 23 label on the other, or the one that's usually very like coveted is the Blue Train that has the New York 23 on the one side, and that's kind of like, I guess, the Love Supreme that doesn't have the suffix A on the labels. So
well, we can move along, but it's and I think your explanation is great. I mean, it's I think it reflects, I'll say one last thing. I think it reflected a culture there that was just like, these, let's use this up, this, and if it doesn't quite match, who gives a fuck? Put it out there and let's go.
But what culture? I mean, we know.
I think that's a good culture.
I mean, from my limited time collecting vinyl and trying to identify things, at least with jazz records, where they had stereo covers and then they folded over the stereo over the back.
Right. That's another example.
And I mean, we still live in slipshot QC nonsense today when they press records. So it's not limited to I think a period of time.
No, well, but I think there's a little bit of a uniqueness to Blue Note.
Well, I mean, if you're a student of Discogs and the way they make people post different versions of records and try and verify it, you could go into almost anything and I often see misprint.
I know.
To what degree is it a misprint? Is it literally a word misspelled? Or did they use the wrong thing? I mean, I forget which record. It's a Yusef Lateef record that's live, but mispressed. There's another record on the other side, on the version I found.
Right. Yeah, so, some of those.
Right. So someone was
drunk. Those are one-offs, though. Those are like
someone was drunk. Someone's nephew was hired. I don't know.
I have one that I bought a few years ago when I was up in, over in Maine from where I live. It was supposed to be Eric Dolphy, Outward Bound, and it ended up being Eric Dolphy Out There. Now the cover, the labels were all Outward Bound, but the record that was actually like pressed into it was Out There. And I mean, it's a completely different record. Yeah. There's no Freddie Hubbard on the one. There's more flute, and it was like a completely different record. And
so for me, I found a copy of Ronald Boykins. What is it? The ESP disc.
Yeah, Ronnie
Boykins.
Yeah.
One side is the Ronnie Boykins. The other side is an Albert Eiler.
Right.
That's a mispress. But I got that record. I was up visiting Seattle. Mazzy went to Easy Beat. They had a copy there for $50 because it was that mispressing. But that normal, and I have a later pressing of that record. But that a good pressing of that Ronnie Boykins is like $300.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
See, I mean, this is stuff about collecting, right? This is not about the music. This is about.
No, it is about the music. You get a totally different album on the other side.
Well, yeah, but a lot of it is about archiving, and I'm just
one of the most. If you collect anything, in my mind, at least in the U.S., one of the most famous collectible thing was that mispressed stamp where the plane was upside down, right? that the U.S. Post Office, they did
That's
a
a very
run.
valuable stamp. I don't remember. So I was a stamp collector when I was a kid. I'll own up. I've
Yeah,
got
but
a
all I'm
dream
saying is,
about collecting.
I mean, I'm sure anyone who, like, the only one I could talk to here is Dave. Dave collects sports cards.
Mm.
I'm almost certain that, like the Billy Ripken "fuck you" card. I mean, it goes in every hobby, Dr.
I
Robert.
totally agree. No, it is, and that's where it's not just the music. It's collecting and
We're collecting.
archiving.
There are plenty of people who love music that don't collect vinyl.
Right.
So it's not
Well,
about the music. It's
I
about the
love.
hobby.
I mean, I love the music. The music is where it starts. But there's also this thing of
If it was about the music, Dr. Robert,
only
you would
about the
not
music.
fill out
Only.
you would not fill out a piece of paper on the front cover of every record if it was about the music.
I agree. That's archiving. That's exactly right.
All right, go, Joe. I'm sorry for the rude interruption.
That's right. So
Maybe we should put a shock collar on Dr. Robert.
Oh, wait a minute. Hey, you can take some responsibility.
This is my stream. I'm running it. I can't.
A few weeks ago, I went to Brooklyn, and I got to visit. I've already been to Billy's shop, but I did go to Billy's record salon again.
Yes.
But one of the main reasons why I did go was I wanted to check out Human Head, because that's usually a store that when people go to New York, that's usually a stop. And they had gone in. I was hoping there was going to be some jazz, and there was some decent stuff on the wall, but it wasn't anything that I either had it, or it was stuff that I didn't want, or it was extremely expensive, things like that. But they had also gotten in some African records, and that's been a type of music that I've become more interested in the last maybe month or so. I just really like the groove and just the instrumentation. The vocals a lot of times are really great as well, even though it's in some type of African language. But one of the records I bought, the second record from this artist, it's K Frimpong. I bought one from a shop in Orlando back in February, and up at Human Head they had an original of his first record, and it's in really, really great shape, especially for African records. But it's just this great, like, high life African jazz funk type. There's a saxophone, there's trumpet, guitar, just a really great groove to it. So this was probably one of the big finds from New York. I'm going to show the other one in just a minute, but this one was a cool one. They actually did this for Record Store Day.
This year?
Yeah.
This year?
Yeah. Just
cool.
Last
week. Did it sell out?
I don't think so. No, I don't.
What's the report on it? Does it sound good?
It's really good. Yeah, it sounds great. Yeah.
What style of it is it? Or?
It's like African high life jazz funk. So it's really just in the lane.
Who put it out for Record Store Day?
That I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well,
yeah, I don't know.
I have to check that out.
Something found on Discogs. This is called Orangutan. GL Unit. It's a Swedish free jazz kind of big band. I think, Rob, you would like this. This is probably, it's a bit more intense than the one that you were showing, that Globe Unity one. Yeah. But it's a similar thing. It's a huge band. I mean, if you take a look, it's hard to see, but this is the box. What's in the box is the lineup. It's just a huge group. I think there's some big names. The one name that I was familiar with, I don't know if he plays actually on both sides or if it's just the one side, but Bent Nordstrom. He has a record Dave picked up at the end of last year. It's close to a 4-figure price tag for that record. Very limited. I think there's only like 50 or 100 copies of the record. This one's not as rare as, I mean, this is rare, but it's not as limited. This is on the Odeon label, so it's got this great black label, but it's just like Swedish free jazz, big band type stuff. But this was a great one. This came, I bought this from somebody in Sweden. So
is that a Swedish pressing? Is it
Swedish pressing? Yes. Yep. It's a Swedish pressing. Other one that I found, This one is also kind of a bit of a blind buy. It's I don't even know how to pronounce the name, but that's the name of the record, the name of the group as well. So I believe this is. See if it's on the back. It's not in English at all. I believe this is either Swedish or Norwegian. It's one of those, but it's free jazz. But it's interesting on Discogs. If you look at the entry, it also is described as being African because it does have this little like, I don't know if we call it African, but it does have a little bit of a different vibe to it than just simply being free jazz. But
is there a rhythmic beat into it?
It's a little bit, but it is also very improvisation based. It's not like a groovy, it's not like funky or anything. But just a quartet. You got a guy on trumpet, two guys on saxophone, and then there's two guys that play the cello. So it's kind of a few, like each player plays a few different instruments, but this was a cool one. It's not super, super expensive, but it's also a tough one to find in the U.S. So me finding that at a store was great. And then the last one.
Was it in Stockholm? You said
no,
Sweden, right?
No, it's not. That one's. I think if I remember correctly, it is Norwegian, but I might be wrong. I don't. It's not actually.
Try another city, Dr. Robert.
You didn't buy it in Norway though.
No. Oh no.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Oh, I thought that's okay.
Dr. Robert.
I just meant that I found it.
Yeah. All right. Stockholm.
Listen, the Jazz Hooligan, free Jazz Hooligan live streams are about actually traveling to each of these countries to get your records.
Let me just say, it's been a long day. I'm sorry. I made a mental error there. I'm acknowledging it publicly. So
last one. So I did get, as you talked about, Rob, earlier, I got the one record store day one was the Nathan Davis. That one was really incredible.
I have it right here.
I really loved that. And so yeah, and he's a tough artist to find. A lot of his stuff, a lot of it was European, so tough to find in the U.S. And if you do, it's usually
see. Here's the funny thing about Nathan Davis. I think for me, in the era of me collecting jazz vinyl, it was really started by that Sam Records triple live album of Nathan Davis that everyone unanimously said how good it sounds.
Yeah.
Then I started looking into him. It's not like he was a low-level jazz artist.
No.
I think he went to Europe to find success. He went to college with Will Chamberlain. They were friends.
Oh.
But when he came back to the US in I think the 70s and started his own label in Pittsburgh, those records are very expensive because they're excellent, really good records, but he didn't press a lot of them, right?
Right.
And I don't know who owns the rights to them, but I found, like, the story I heard is the recording studio where he did all the records went out of business, and they have boxes of his records, and someone snapped up a bunch.
Yeah.
That's the one I got that the whole is mispressed. But
I know there was one record that came out. It was back in the 70s, but I think it was called The If, and it was a picture of him on the front. And a few years ago, somebody out west had found a box full of like dead stock stuff. And I think they were telling people about it, and it was all just like, sealed copies. And whether they were extremely expensive or not, I don't know. But that record is like $200-$300, and probably sealed it might be closer to $400 or $500. So
the one title is I'm not looking at it. It's like Cowabubia or something like that.
Okay,
that's the one they found a lot of sealed copies of.
Oh, okay, yeah,
but I don't know how many he did for MPS, but last year they put out the Hip Walk,
yeah,
and it's good, but this sounds so much better. This is a great sounding record.
It was great. Yeah. It was really
that was a big. It's still available. I've come across this at a couple stores. Grab this. Grab it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that record falls a little bit outside of the probably general jazz collector realm. I mean, because there's a shop that I go to back in Rochester where, I mean, a lot of them are jazz people. The store is also kind of a jazz one, and and none of them, I mean, I think they kind of knew who the person was, but at the same time, the vibe that I got was like, oh, I didn't even know about that, or I've never heard of that. And so it was not, I think for very, I don't want to insult anybody, but for people that are maybe a little bit more on just the fringe of collecting jazz, it's not something that, or if there's somebody that sticks to just the Blue Note classics, Tone to Poet, you know what I mean? Blue Note.
Well, the lineup on this, I think, was sort of Larry Young's band at the time.
Yeah, and he plays the piano on that.
Right, which I don't know any other records.
Yeah,
he mostly plays they call him like the monk of the jazz organ. Like, you know, and he's Larry Young.
Yeah, because he was affiliated with, or at least in terms of like, he had a very similar trajectory as like Albert Eiler did in Europe, where he went to Europe in the early 60s. And I think
Nathan Davis.
Well, Nathan Davis, but also Larry Young.
Larry Young.
Unless I'm thinking of somebody else.
No, I don't know if he did, because he did several albums for Blue Note.
I might be thinking of somebody else.
And he did some. No. I think he did some.
I'm thinking of Cecil Taylor. Sorry, that's
So like on here is the lineup is like, what's the? Now I'm blanking. The Larry Young record, the great record on Blue Note. It's literally that lineup on this record. It's Woody Shaw on here.
Is it like Unit Structures?
Not Unit Structures, because that record.
Unity? Is it Unity?
No, it's Unity.
Yeah.
So it's Woody Shaw, Larry Young, Jimmy Wood, and Billy Brooks.
Okay.
So on this record.
Yes.
But Larry Young's not playing the organ; he's playing the piano. This is such a good record, and they do the same song that's on Unity. They do the theme from Zoltan, which is a Woody Shaw song. So
I just got one more that I got while I was in Brooklyn. So I went to Billy's. On his wall, he had, and I had seen in a post a few weeks before, probably beginning of March or so. Again, I moved a little bit past Blue Note collecting for the most part, but there are a handful of titles I have been on my radar, and this one was one of the bigger.
That's a $700 or $800 record. If it's
this was not
an original records a minute ago.
This is a Liberty stereo. So it's early press, but Joe Henderson is incredible, especially on this. Steve Kuhn piano, Steve Swallow bass, Pete LaRocca drums. A lot of stuff that Pete LaRocca did. He didn't have a lot. He was mostly a side man on some Blue Note sessions, but a lot of his lead ones, I know, like the Turkish Bath record is another one. It just seems like his titles really were maybe not received, well pressed.
He became a lawyer, right? He quit and became a lawyer.
I believe he did, yes. Yep. So this was, I think, his first session as a leader. And so this was a really great one.
Look, it came out as an 80. That one's that's the one I have. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. And I think that's a lot of people that talk about Blue Notes, that's usually in the top 5 or 10 for their favorite Blue Note sessions. So that was kind of the list. Rob, how long are you going to be on? Are you going to stay on for a bit, or are you?
I mainly did the stream for you, Joe, but I might go another half hour. It's not like I'm planning to do a long time. So.
Okay. All right. Can I be in the background for a bit? Is that okay? And if you're still on, then you're on. But
do you have more to show?
That's all I have right now. Yeah.
Okay. You can do whatever you want. No, this isn't jail, Joe.
Okay.
No.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, Dr. Robert can show his stuff. So.
Okay. All right. But hey, I hope you see it. But great sharing a moment with you. And I also, before I started, I wanted to just show this is
listen. You're supposed to put tape over it. We do not publicize drinks.
No, because I am enjoying a delicious sparkling water, and I get no payments from Soleil to show their stuff. So that's a recommendation. At any rate, I pulled a few to show kind of the connection between jazz and rock and roll, and these are a couple I found recently. Louis Jordan, fantastic. Call him rock and roll, whatever you want to call it, R&B, rock and roll, jazz saxophonist. This came out in 1964. It's one of the very early pressings on.
Wait, is he a trumpet player or a saxophonist?
I think he's saxophone. Yeah, he's saxophone.
Okay.
Yeah. And he had some really big hits in the 50s, and these are a couple of late pressings that feature him. But really, the point is that I wanted to make. One of the points is the saxophone was kind of before the guitar. The saxophone was a lot of times the lead instrument in what was called rock and roll, and this is an album that's called Rock and Roll Music with the Big Beat by the band Sam the Man Taylor and his orchestra, but it's produced under the supervision of Alan Freed. It's almost impossible to read that, but that's an early compilation of music that's really bridges jazz and rock and roll, and all based on saxophone. So I just wanted to show that. Here's a few more. You going to challenge me on that, Mac Wax?
No.
You don't want to have a conversation about it?
No.
Really?
I know the saxophone was used in early rock music.
Yeah. But
it seemed to be, if anything, piano, drums, and bass, and then guitar. I'll defer to you.
Yeah, well, I think saxophone was a primary instrument at that.
I honestly,
let's just say that.
Know that one. Yeah, that came out as a record store day record in Black Friday.
Yeah, well,
it was a double LP.
Yeah, this one is not, but this is an original label.
Yeah, that's a hard listen, Dr. Robert.
Yeah, well, he is a challenge. I do like his stuff, but I have yet to listen to this one. This one's recently.
Dr. Robert, your lovely beverage will change while you're listening to that.
Yes, well, I might have to, but at any rate, this is a promo copy too, which is interesting on Fantasy. They weren't white label, but it does say promo on it. There's another one. This performer, Leon Thomas, I think, does not get enough.
I think you need to. He has a very distinct way of singing that I don't think a lot of people connect with.
Oh my God, I just find it so, it's just so guttural, and it is deep, and it's he's one of it's different than scat, right? But it's not verbal. I mean, he doesn't say words, and I guess he doesn't say words. It's he's using his voice as an instrument, and I just find it compelling. I'll say.
Well, if you're into the Leon Thomas, they're not expensive records to find.
Well, they are, and they're great. And he made quite a few of them. So look for Leon Thomas. And then this is a recent acquisition. This is actually, I think, Coltrane's first record on Impulse. Came out in 1962.
Yeah.
And this is an original label. Ampar Orange original label for those that are finicky about precise descriptions.
How clean is that?
This is it's lovely. This is a near mint vinyl. The cover,
you didn't pay $300.
Yeah, I paid. Right? I paid $100 for it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good deal then.
Yeah, it was a good deal.
I have the reissue that they just put out is part of the Verve Record Club. So,
yeah, there you go.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks for letting me show a few.
That's all right. Yes, I think Glenn, he drives a lot of people up the wall.
Oh, check out Leon Thomas.
I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be funny.
He is so good. If you like Bobby McFerrin, you'll love Leon Thomas.
Well, okay, that's another one I don't think a lot of people take to.
At any rate.
You know, I think if you made a list of 5 songs you don't need to hear the rest of your life, Don't Worry, Be Happy will be one of them.
Well, all I'll say is if you don't know,
you didn't make your case by putting Bobby McFerrin in with him.
If you don't know, you don't know. That's all I'm saying.
Roberto, the Jazz Bums are taking the week off. It's Jazz Bum free. Jazz Hooligans live stream. Free Jazz Hooligans. So, maybe I'll go another 20 minutes. If anyone wants to come up, show some records, let me know. This was sort of a birthday gift to Joe so he could show his records. So, what's your next concert, Dr. Robert, you're going to attack people with their pen and
well, we may go to a show tomorrow night. It's a reggae band, and I'm going to have to look up the name of the act. A friend of ours sent us the ad. But the interesting thing about it is it's being held at a record pressing plant here in Portland that I also was unaware of. So the performer is Norma Frazier, and I don't know her music at all, but at any rate, sounded very interesting. Jamaican reggae music legend, and being held.
I've heard the name before. Tonight, because I don't go anywhere. There's Ravi Coltrane's doing a show there's a jazz club at the Disney Concert Hall downtown.
Nice.
I think he's doing it in conjunction with the exhibit they have at the Hammer Museum at UCLA. So he's doing a show tonight. So, but he did a live show not too long ago that he streamed over the internet. I watched that. So, oh look, hey Dana or Kimbo, I'm sorry I called you by your given name. I think I found your record. This record, do you recognize this record? It's Ron Blake, who's an avant-garde jazz pianist, and he wrote it to you, to the one and only Dana Rand, because I know you're the only one. Let me know in the comments below.
Well, actually, I think I'm gonna say goodnight as well. So,
all right. Well, thank you for leaving me here by myself. You're very helpful.
Well, hey, I'm doing my best.
Okay.
All right. See you later.
All right.
Bye.
Yes, because you are the original attack people with a pen in your album cover. So, let me answer some. No, I've not been at a jazz show at the Village. I've not been to a show at the Village Vanguard. So, it'd be nice to go. Your name is not Dana. He's pretty good, yeah. There's that one record, I have it, with him and Jan Lee. I think they became famous together in the 60s. I think I have a later pressing of it. I think it's on RCA. It could be wrong. I have several of his records. How's it become awkward? You know what's awkward? Being in the live chat when you could be up doing your own live stream. That's awkward. Okay, Dave. I wanted to Glenn. Yes, you can ask a favor. You can always ask a favor. Do you need a record flattened? Well, just real quick, Glenn. You could have easily just asked the favor instead of asking if you could ask a favor. Then that's 2 asks. All right, Dave. Did you get the? I did not. I tend to not get comps, even though people love those Jazz Dispensary titles. I tend to stay away from comps. That's me. Because what if you don't like one song on it? Yeah, I'd rather just have the record of the artist. So, well, Kimbo, someone's saying that your name is not real. Yeah, there you go. That's it. Christopher Knows. That's the album. But I have you know what are quite good are these French RCA reissues from the 70s that all have these white kind of covers with a photo of the artist. That's the one I have. They're great sounding reissues. I don't know if the record's called that in the reissue. Well, we've accomplished one thing tonight. Kimbo's changed his name to Zool. If you ever come across a copy of Wild Strings on CD, can I grab it? I will try to remember it. I don't really go through the CD section often, but if I see it, beep, bop, boop, I will try and remember. No, why don't you post the link? Wouldn't that been a smarter move? It's going to be downtown. So I don't have it right now. I think it's near Fidham. It's in downtown LA. I think I'm going to do it a week from tomorrow. A week from tomorrow, Saturday, I will do an auction. It'll be the best auction I've ever done. I'm telling you, killer stuff. It's crazy how good it is. John, it's at the California market. I don't even think that's what it's called, Piper. You're welcome. I understand, but you have all of them. I feel if I get one, then I'm out of it because I don't have the others. Look, everyone who gets them loves them. Oh no, what's happening to Joe? Oh, Joe was there. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, post the link. How unhelpful can you be? Okay, John Dagon has a live video clip of him playing. Everyone go support him and watch it. Thank you. Jeez, Roberto. And Roberto, you could have paid $5 to post that. I don't even know if I'm set up to take money. So, what's your next? Are you going to go back down to Philly for this record show again?
I haven't decided yet. I've been with how much I've been traveling. Like, went to Brooklyn, I went to Boston. Yeah. I haven't really decided. I do have one of my wife's. Well, I guess one of my in-laws. She lives not far from Philly. It's like 20 minutes outside of the city. So there is like somewhere I could stay Friday night, but just with like, I would come back probably in the evening on Saturday, and it's a 5-hour drive from there to where I live. So it's like, and I've done it before, but does the
train go from you to Philly?
No, there's no train that goes.
Because like from DC, the train from DC to Philly is so easy.
Yeah, no, there's nothing that comes up this way or anything like that. So, but
because that's the same guy who's going to do the show in LA.
I remember when you had said something about the guy doing it in LA. I remember.
I hope he brings dealers from all over the country. I hope he's able to do that.
Well, I wonder if like places like Slow Low, because I know they go up to Denver and guys like that, or is there?
here's the funny thing. For the life of me, we have shows here. Sometimes when I go to the Orange County Record Show, which is once a month, someone comes in from like Phoenix, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's amazing to me that these dealers don't take advantage. But and you know, some people would say, well, why don't you put the show on? I'm not. I do.
Yeah.
Some people might think I live stream all the time, which is factually incorrect. But you know, maybe if I didn't have a job or something like that, maybe I explore it. But I'm hoping this guy, it's such an untapped place. It's the second largest metro area in the country.
Yeah.
There should be nothing against Austin, but fuck that show. The biggest record show in the country should be in LA.
Right.
You know?
Well,
obviously,
I wonder if, do you think people from like Japan would come to a show like that? Like if it built up enough?
Dude, I'm sorry to tell you this, which you probably could guess correct. People from Japan come here anyway to buy records.
Right.
I mean, yes, people come to LA to buy records and take back shitloads. It's it's the west coast of the US, which is not a horrible flight. So
right. Yep.
I mean, I don't get it. I don't get, you know, Jim tells me stories. They used to do a huge one at the Capitol Records building in the parking lot there. I would have loved to gone to something like that.
Yeah.
They used to have big record shows here, but I just don't. I don't understand. Yeah.
Where did you say the one in LA was going to be?
It's downtown. We I think around the Fashion District, but I could be wrong. There's a big FITM, the Fashion Institute, which is sort of like a fashion college. I think it's right near there.
Okay.
You know.
And that's not far for you then? That wouldn't be too bad for you?
To get down, parking's not going to probably be great.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, no, not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, the metro goes right here. I could walk 10 minutes to the metro, and it goes all the way downtown. I could do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, not with me because I'll get all the records. But seriously, I have cycles of stores I hit up, but to include Orange County up to Ventura, I mean, when people, there are some people in the chat who have come to LA and I've taken them to stores. No one leaves here empty-handed.
Yeah.
Everyone finds records that they go, cool, I found that record.
Are there any stores down like Anaheim area? Because I have family that lived down there, but that's Orange County, isn't it?
The ones I go to down there, they don't compare with the ones up here, but there's Left of the Dial, there's Rasta Cowboy, there's Dr. Free Cloud. There's a lot of good stores down there.
Okay.
There's enough stores to take up a day of actually outside of LA, the next place south that has the best number of record stores is Long Beach. Long Beach, you could spend a day going to all the record stores in Long Beach.
Okay.
So there's good. Look, the top 5 record stores are right in LA. Even like there's one in Santa Monica. It's stocked with good records. I just feel that they charge way too much for their records.
Sure.
It's kind of off-putting.
Yeah. Well, listen, Rob, I got to get going.
Okay.
So I appreciate you putting the stream on. And
no problem. There's always content to be made and put up on the channel.
Yeah.
So
I'll talk to you later.
All right. You have a good.
Yeah, you too, Rob.
Yeah,
thanks.
good weekend.
Yeah,
I'll finish. I'll talk for another few minutes. Hold on. George has something to say. What Capitol show? The one that they did at the Capitol Records building? It started at midnight and went all night long? Yeah, I mean, I heard that was like the kick-ass record show. So, hold on. The best record stores in LA are used record stores. Obviously, Amoeba has a large new release section, but the best record stores sell used records. They do. If some of the stores I go to, Freakbeat sells new ones, but they're slowly moving off of them because they just don't make the money on them, and those records sit around taking up space. I've talked to the owner; he would prefer to sell all used records. I think. He really is kind of soured on. He does Record Store Day, but those titles sit around and they lose money on them. So, okay, George is filling in more information. Start at midnight into Sunday morning and attended just about every. How many of them? How often was it, George? How often was that Capitol Records record sale or show or whatever you call it? He asked me to do the stream, so he was co-host. Hold on. Here's I think why people say weird things about Amoeba. I go all the time. So they're always putting out new records. That is a turnover bastion. So if I went to Amoeba the other day, I left with no records. I could have bought a record. So you're bound to strike out, but it's the biggest record store in LA. The turnover, they get the most amount of records. So, okay. So it was once a month. What years are we talking about, George, that they did it? I like Amoeba too. And there are people saying, I like the old Amoeba. To me, it's the same. There was an upstairs where they had all the video, DVDs and stuff. And there was a back room area, but it feels the same to me. But they did a good job of recreating it. No one's here talking about Costco, Jim. And here's a tip for everyone. Don't go to Costco on a Friday evening. Okay. So Jim, George is talking about the Capitol Records building record show. Can you add more to it than it was from 76 to 79? Okay. I haven't gone to Bakersfield. They have a location outside of downtown here. I've been there once. So I've been to the one here in LA, not in Bakersfield. We drove through there when I went on a road trip with Jim, and he said no. He was firm and no about it. He was a stick in the mud. Look, if you walk out of a record store finding a record you've wanted, it's the best record store you've been to, I think. Here's the stick in the mud, Harry. I don't know about that. I don't know. I can't respond to that. I find a lot of records at Amoeba that are cheaply priced. Licorice Pizza is not really a record store. And the one that's open here, they seem to stop buying records. They used to have good stuff in there, and not anymore. I think they mostly sell new records. It's not a big place. I'm with you, Jeffy. I love when we used to have the Virgin Megastore and definitely Tower. Those were awesome. I'm sad they's closed down. Congratulations, Harry. Harry went in there and they had a bunch of Beatles. See, here's a good example of why a record store might be good. When Harry came to visit LA, we went to Record Safari. Just so happens they had a ton of Beatles bootlegs, and he was in heaven. Hold on. A second ago, Roberto, you wanted to get rid of your wrench and run for the hills. Make up your mind. And that was a $5 comment. Well, you're a stick in the mud. That's my new phrase. How much more? We got 1 minute. So I appreciate everyone coming. Wish Joe a belated birthday. Thanks everyone for watching. I really appreciate it. Sorry I'm not going much long. Uh-oh. Dude, I was ending the stream. What do you want?
I just thought I'd join in, Liven it up a little. Talk about all that jazz shit.
That's what the stream is about.
I know.
Are you gonna do your own stream so people can watch you talk
I
about
don't
the
know. I
shit?
might do something around 7 o'clock just for the hell of it.
Yeah, I have 8 psych records that someone gave me to flatten that I'm gonna sell.
I was thinking maybe we'd do a stream and do an in-depth dive about Costco and their dog food section.
Can I be honest with you, Harry?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Costco's my place of zen. I like going to Costco,
I do too.
but I go when a lot of people are not there. That's the
Did
tip.
you see Costco is now selling caskets? That's the last thing I need.
No, you're a fucking idiot. But they've been selling caskets all along.
I know, but you got to buy 2.
Hey, can you tell Jim that they sell dog food at places other than Costco?
You know, the Costco, I read that they're getting rid of
authority.
their Pepsi with the hot dog. Is, a hot dog and
Oh,
Pepsi. They're going to go to Coke.
I am so not a Pepsi person.
Me
That
too.
is the best, but I thought it was supposed to happen already.
I think they're rolling it out because ours is still Pepsi up here too.
Well, here's what the biggest fucking issue is, and I'll tell you right now.
What's the biggest issue, Rob?
This guy's in Canada, this Rick's dude.
Yeah.
The Costco's in Canada have French fries and chicken strips. What's the fuck with that? Why don't we have French fries here in the US of A? We invented the French fries.
Freedom fries, damn it.
Kicks, this isn't a good comparison. You go to each one for different reasons. So for me, here's Costco. I buy my eggs there, and I bought a 12 count
18 pack.
I bought the 12 count of the free range, free caged brown eggs for $8. That seems like a good price for me.
And their rotisserie chicken's really good.
No, it isn't. It's pumped full of chemicals. I stay away from
that's why it's good.
But they're prepared. A lot of their prepared foods is good. Costco, I buy my coffee bag, like 2.5 pounds. And then I get the hot dog. I get the hot dog with the drink.
Yeah. $1.50.
When I could eat pizza, I liked the Costco pizza.
I thought it was pretty good. It's not the best pizza, but it's okay.
No, well, here's the thing. Here's what people always talk about: the fucking crust. What about the melding of the cheese and sauce? The Costco pizza sauce and cheese together is great. But my favorite pizza is Whole Foods. The Whole Foods pizza is good because of the cheese and sauce they use.
I like Papa Murphy's and I like Little Caesars, the square ones with the burnt crust all around it. The deep dish.
Well, you don't have, Jollibee all over the U.S. is coming like a crazy.
I've never heard of it.
It's basically the Filipino McDonald's. For years, okay. They've been opening up all over the U.S. So I like Jollibee. It's good. Oh, hold on. No, I'm past the 90-minute mark, Jeffy.
Yeah, I thought,
learn how to tell time. Oh, hold on.
I'm not a fan of Sam's Club though. I've been in them. They're dirty.
Sam's Club is ghetto Costco. But actually there are things at Sam's Club that they don't have at Costco. So sometimes when they can get a cheap membership, I'll join.
Staph infections.
No. Well, I'll tell you, they sell gas too. Now I have an electric car. That was like the main reason I had the Costco card, because of the gas. But I'm keeping it. Jeffy, that's incredibly not true. There are plenty of good pizza places in LA.
There's good pizza everywhere.
Yeah.
Somehow somebody voted Seattle as the best city in America for pizza. And how they ever did that is beyond me.
When you go to those polls, they always pick Papa John's as number one. It's stupid.
Yeah, my favorite thing to say about Papa John's is bitter ingredients, bitter pizza.
Hey, George, you were on a roll with good comments until now. Thank you.
And I'm not a fan of deep dish, like the big, thick Chicago-style deep dish. To me, that's not pizza. That's a pie.
Hey, Rix, you're allowed to read your comments before you post them. Sam pulled out of Toronto sounds weird.
I wish Trump's father had pulled out.
Oh, Harry, have you partaken in herbal supplements?
Not lately. Not since about 2:00. No, actually 1:00, I think.
Listen, here's the deal, people. I'm a big believer that each town has something culinary to offer that others don't. But if you can't find a decent pizza in your town, you don't live in a normal place.
Yeah.
It's the cheapest thing. It's got to be the most profitable type of restaurant to own. It costs nothing to make a pizza.
Do you have Mod Pizza down there?
Yeah, it's one of those chains where you make it yourself.
No, well, you tell them they make it, but you.
Yeah, no, but it's sort of like who started this was what's the burrito place? Chipotle. Mm-hmm. And then there was like 4. There's Blaze Pizza. Here we have a place called 800 Degrees. That's like that. That does the same type of deal. I'll tell you this, Roberto. So I went back to DC last time, and one of the Connecticut pizza places. One of the Connecticut pizza places open there, the Frank Pepe, and I had some, and that pizza was fucking awesome.
Okay, worst airport food I've ever had is Sbarro.
It's Harry, Sbarro is like a mall food court place.
Yeah, I know, but I've had it in airports too. And I don't like anything they've done ever. Pagliacci is really good, Dana.
Well, but okay, Harry.
Local thing.
You confirm this for me because I always heard that Seattle was teriyaki chicken was the thing there. Is that true?
It's big. Now it's pho. Vietnamese.
Well, hold on. Soup. It's not. The teriyaki chicken is fucked?
No. Did you know the chickens die when they have sex? At least the ones I had sex with did.
Don't worry, everyone. I'll edit Harry's portion of this out of this stream. The teriyaki chicken's like the thing. Like when I used to travel doing test screens all over the place, that's what I would like to find. The food that was unique to each place I went to.
Louis said he might come on later tonight, Jeff, if I did a stream around 7. Hey,
Jeff, where do you live? If I can ask. Here, Dave will say. Yeah, it started. It's passe now.
Supposedly it did.
I think I've had it once in Seattle when I've been there. Yeah, that's all of us in LA. Especially the recovering drug addicts.
Okay, what's the big hot movie of the summer going to be?
Well, today, I think the most acclaimed film of the last 5 years opened today.
And that's
The Sinners, Ryan Coogler movie. It's getting unanimously raves. But
The Sinner, huh?
Sinners, yes. It's sort of a hybrid kind of. It takes place like in the 30s South, and it's got music and vampires and thriller.
Vampires.
No, it's not. But it's go read the reviews. Again, I don't run out to the theaters. I wait till I can stream it at home. So, from
Debbie does Costco.
You know what? I like B kind of style action movies. So one of the best, if you haven't seen these, Harry, there are these two. This Welsh guy moved to, I forget which Asian country. He moved to, where's Kuala Lumpur? What country is that in? It's
is that in
Malaysia? So this Welsh dude moved to Malaysia, and he wanted to be a documentarian, and he found out about their style of martial arts. He connected with this martial artist, shot a documentary, and decided to make action movies with this dude. Two of the best action movies that have come out in the last 20 years are the Raid movies, Raid 1 and Raid 2. They're ultra violent, very satisfying. It's about a SWAT team. The first one trying to catch a drug dealer at the top of this high rise, and how they get up to the top. There's all those challenges. The second one
has Donkey Kong thing.
No, the second one has one of the best car chases ever put on film. So this dude has a new movie coming on Netflix at the next weekend with what's the British actor who was Venom?
No, I was gonna say Sean Connery, but he's
dead. The British actor who played Venom is what's his face, guys. So
too new for me.
It comes out next weekend on Netflix. That movie looks fucking awesome. So that's going to be on Netflix.
You know, they're pissing me off though. Every time I want to watch something, it says not available with ad-free subscription. So if I want to watch the good stuff, I got to change my,
Tom Hardy. This movie that comes out next weekend on Netflix with Tom Hardy. Go watch that trailer. It's the same director as the Raid movies. That looks freaking awesome.
Now, where is Raid playing? Where's it streaming?
So there's a website called justwatched.com.
Yeah.
You can type in any movie, it'll tell you where you can stream it.
Okay.
I would think you can watch the Raid for free. I think. I can tell you where you can watch the Raid. Let's see. If you forget about listening to music, hold on. The Raid. The Raid is streaming. And the Raid Redemption's the second one. Where I guess you have to pay for it.
Now, this Tom Hardy, Rick talks about him. I don't know who he is, but he was in a movie I just started watching called the Biker Boys or something.
All right, The Raid is on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
It says it's on Netflix.
It's probably not available on the ad-free format, though. Or on
I don't know. I don't know. I have ad-free. I'm not poor like you.
The only thing I don't pay for, for YouTube, I do the premium because I don't want to watch their ads.
Okay. The Raid 2 is on the Roku channel, which is free. Sign up for the Roku channel.
Roku.
Yeah, we're not all 10 years old, Kimbo. So go watch the Raid movies, and then next weekend watch the Tom Hardy one. There's also another movie called Headshot with this guy who starred in the Raid movies. That's freaking awesome, too. There's a whole fight on a school bus where heads are chopped off and limbs. It's awesome. I love those.
Sounds like a good time.
Dude, I love a good, solid action movie.
I like the Equalizer series when that was out.
The first two were okay. The third one was excellent. See, because the bad guys got it good. The second, the one with him, Fury Road, is excellent. We'll go 5 more minutes, guys, and then it's time for me to chill. I'm tired. It's been a long day.
What you been doing all day? Record shopping?
Well, I did some errands. I got a new vacuum cleaner. I put it together, and you know what? This is a Harry joke. This new record cleaner I got, vacuum cleaner, it sucks, Harry. It really does.
Oh, it sucks. Okay. Can you clean your records with it?
I guess I could take off and put an attachment on it and suck all the dirt off. But it really sucks, man.
That's good.
There are tons of good movies on Tubi.
I finished watching The Bosch Legacy, and I was really disappointed. I thought it went downhill this year.
I liked it, but they spun off that new series that starts in a month or so.
Yeah.
The best, the Reacher one was good, but it wasn't as good as
the Reacher one. I was disappointed in. I didn't like the gal that played the cop. I thought her Boston accent was terrible.
I hate it when people feel they have to do a Boston accent. Oh, hold on. Yeah, I worked for Roger Corman for like almost 2 years. I worked in the The guy who did the script and stuff.
Who is Roger Corman?
Famous movie filmmaker, producer. He's
Yes.
he's responsible for a lot of famous directors and stars' career, but he made kind of B movies from the 50s into he passed away like a couple years ago. He discovered like Jack Nicholson and gave Ron Howard his first movie, Jonathan Demme.
What was Ron Howard's first film?
There's a documentary about him. Go watch that. It's really good.
I'll go to Just Watch and I'll see where it's streaming.
Yeah. He would always come in the room. Hi, everybody. We have a convenience store we're shooting a movie on. We need an idea for a film we can shoot over the weekend. That's how he talked. Scorsese. Yeah.
Oh, Harry, yes. Oh, Harry. What about it?
Well, he's bragging. All right, guys, we're done. Harry's going to stream a little later, no?
Around 7 o'clock.
Yeah, go watch Harry. Harry's Music Room. He's streaming later at 7
I don't know
o'clock.
how long we'll do it, but it depends on how the conversation goes.
All right. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Okay, later.
Have a good evening. Bye, everybody.
Bye.